Okay, so I'm going to carry on playing around with curves, and what I'm going to do this time is I'm actually going to add myself a path. And paths are very simple, they're similar to Bezier's, except unlike them, instead of having like a handle, you just have single points to move around, like so. I'm actually going to keep this perfectly straight for now for what I'm doing. And then I'm going to add myself another curve, and I'm going to add a Bezier, and I'm going to go X like so, and just move it here, G and X. I'm also going to rotate it 90 degrees so I can see what I'm doing easily. Okay, so now what I've got is I've got myself a curve, and I've got myself a path as well. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click myself on my path, head down to its data, and I'm going to pop here so that I pick up that curve. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude this out a bit. Now what it starts to do is it kind of picks up the curvature of your actual Bezier. Right, why is this useful? Well, one of the great things I like about this is if you're kind of better at drawing things or making things in 2 dimensions than 3 dimensions, and you want to make things like cups or vases or anything like that, what we can do is we can head into our Bezier instead and view it from the side, so like from 1. And then what we can do is we can kind of start extruding it out however we want. Ooh. Moving it around. So I'm going to try my best. I'm just going to try as best as possible right now to just create a kind of a chalice look to things. So like so. Helps if I can grab the right part. So pull that to there. Then I've got this part coming around, which is where I want it. Then rotate that a little bit. I've got to be careful because if you end up going over kind of the line, it ends up wrapping around itself. So you do have to kind of be careful with that. Again, I'm just going to kind of move this point over here. And now can you see I've actually got a kind of chalice type shape coming along, and now it's perfectly flat at the moment, but good news, let's pop back onto our actual path. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to increase the depth of it now. Now at the moment it's kind of got an elongated shape, that's because I've got my extrude on it. I'm just going to pull my extrude down to 0, and there we go. I've actually kind of just gone and created myself an actual cup. Now I can increase the resolution to make it, you know, well, smoother, but you can see how easy it is to create some very simple shapes. As I say, it's a bit of a weird thing because if I tried to shape this initial curve with the Bezier, without the Bezier, it might not have given me the shape that I wanted. So it would have given me a kind of set of curves and everything, but it wouldn't have created that interesting bevel all the way along it of different thicknesses. Being able to use a Bezier as a taper is a fantastic little thing to do. You can also do it the other way around. You can actually use a Bezier and a path to actually be the taper of a Bezier, so you can do it the other way around depending on what you're trying to create. You know, so and as I said, if you want to kind of make this thicker and wider, a bit of an odd shape, you can very easily do it. It's a great simple way to basically create things like cup handles, cups themselves, basically things that have a lot of curvature that are actually quite difficult to make in 3D using normal meshes. And as I said, there's a few things that you can do to kind of tweak and play around with, you know, to improve the quality of them. But overall, once you've got that, just go up here, and what you can do is you can just kind of apply your visual geometry to mesh. Then you'll get a nice little copy of it here. And then once you've got your actual mesh, you can actually start kind of doing things like decorating it, or if you think that little bit there is kind of, this little bit in the middle here, you think, oh, actually it's a bit too thin and I need to widen it out, well, get that whole thing selected. If it would, it's trying to select the long part rather than the short part, which I don't want, but I'm sure I'll work that out. Anyway, and what you would do is once you've got like the setup that you want, you can start to scale parts out, make them sort of thicker if you need to, decorate them, put like little indents in them, jewels or whatever else you want to do. You could also potentially add depth to it. Again, just simple things like generating, solidifying to create a proper 3D object. So there we go. That is an easy way of using a Bezier curve to create something, basically a cup or a chalice or anything like that, really, that actually, personally, I find it very difficult and long-winded to create in 3D. I find it a lot easier to work in 2 dimensions. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next video.